Okay, so upon further investigation, I tore the bike down, and this is where the fork should have been. This piece right here is an O-ring, and I'm assuming that this is supposed to keep the fork oil in the fork. And this threading here actually screws into the top of the fork. So this is the fork right here. And there's threading down in there. And this threading up here goes down into the fork. So I threaded it back on there, so the thread is still intact. I don't know how that fork managed to come out of there and drop down, but I think the contributing factor is, if you look right here, this screw is loose, and this is supposed to pinch the fork to hold it in place. So I guess there's a combination of this screw being loose, and I guess the fork, the top part of it was probably rotating over the years, and it just came loose. And as I was riding, it was banging up against there. I could hear a banging sound. And I guess the only thing that was keeping it on there was the other fork, and the axle was preventing it from coming all the way out. Because I noticed that it was tweaked a little when I was removing the axle, and I could barely get the axle out because it was tweaked so much. But once I finally get the axle out, this fork just dropped right out. And this bike is 18 years old, and it's never been in the shop. I've been doing most of the maintenance on it myself, obviously. So I guess anybody who's an experienced Harley mechanic might have checked that bolt, over the years. I don't know, to see if it was tight or not, but learn as I go. I'm, learning the hard way, I guess. So my goal now is going to be to go ahead, I guess, and get that fork back in there, tighten up that screw, and thread it back onto there and get the oil back in there and see if it's going to function properly, and go to the other side and make sure that that other one is not loose. The only problem that I foresee is the spring. If you get the spring in there, this spring, let me see. It's hard to do this with one hand trying to hold the camera. But if you get the spring in there, it protrudes out a little bit, and that's going to probably need to be compressed. That spring needs to be all the way down inside of there. So that's a lot, and it is very stiff. It's not possible to push it in there by hand, so I'm probably going to need a special tool, but that's where I'm at for right now. So I'll look for your comments below.